Welcome back to Amazing World Facts. Today, we're diving into the bizarre, the surreal, and the downright unbelievable side of our planet. We've all heard about earthquakes, hurricanes, and volcanic eruptions. But did you know that history has also recorded some truly weird natural disasters? From rivers of molasses flooding city streets to killer lakes that suffocate life in seconds, these events sound like something straight out of a science fiction novel, yet they really happened. Let's start with one of the strangest and most chilling natural disasters in modern history. On August 21, 1986, a quiet lake in Cameroon, Africa, called Lake Nyos, suddenly turned deadly. This wasn't a tsunami or a flood or even a volcanic eruption. Instead, the lake itself exploded. Here's what happened. Lake Nyos sits above a pocket of volcanic magma. Over time, carbon dioxide gas leaked from the magma and dissolved into the lake water, creating a massive hidden reservoir of gas. For years, it stayed trapped at the bottom under pressure. But on that night in 1986, something disturbed the balance, possibly a landslide. The lake suddenly released a gigantic cloud of carbon dioxide gas. This invisible cloud rolled down the surrounding valleys, displacing oxygen and suffocating everything in its path. Villages were wiped out, not by fire or water, but by the air itself. In total, more than 1,700 people and 3,500 livestock died within hours. The eerie part? There was no warning. People simply collapsed where they stood, as if life had been switched off like a light. Since then, scientists have installed special pipes to vent gas from the lake to prevent another catastrophe. Imagine walking down the street only to be swallowed by a wave of sticky molasses. Sounds like a cartoon, right? But this actually happened. On January 15, 1919, in Boston's North End, a huge storage tank holding over 2.3 million gallons of molasses suddenly burst. A massive wave of sticky syrup, some 25 feet high, rushed through the streets at nearly 35 miles per hour. Buildings were crushed, horses were swept away, and people found themselves trapped in a gooey nightmare. Rescuers struggled because the thick molasses made movement nearly impossible. In the end, 21 people died, and more than 150 were injured. For decades afterward, locals swore that on hot summer days, you could still smell molasses in the area. This bizarre disaster is now called the Great Molasses Flood, and it remains one of the strangest urban catastrophes in U.S. history. We've all heard the phrase raining cats and dogs, but in Honduras, it actually rains fish. In the city of Yoro, locals report a phenomenon known as lluvia de peces, or rain of fish. Nearly every year, usually after heavy storms, hundreds of small fish are found flopping on the ground after rainfall. Scientists believe this odd event happens because tornado-like waterspouts suck fish from rivers or the sea and then drop them during storms. But here's the twist. Yoro is far inland, which means the explanation may not be so simple. Some researchers think flash floods sweep fish from underground rivers, washing them across the land. Regardless of the cause, locals treat it as a miracle and even celebrate it with a festival each year. So yes, sometimes it really does rain fish. Everyone remembers the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, but on the exact same day, a much deadlier and stranger fire took place in Wisconsin, in a town called Peshtigo. What made this fire unusual? It wasn't just a blaze. It turned into a fire tornado. Fueled by drought, strong winds, and wooden buildings, the flames spun into whirling firestorms, tornado-like columns of fire that roared across the landscape. Temperatures were so hot that sand turned into glass, and entire communities were erased in minutes. The Peshtigo fire killed as many as 2,500 people, making it the deadliest wildfire in American history. Yet it's often forgotten because Chicago's disaster stole the headlines. In 1980, a lake in Louisiana did something absolutely bizarre. It drained like a bathtub. Lake Peigneur was a peaceful freshwater lake, but on November 20th, 1980, an oil drilling operation accidentally punctured a massive salt mine beneath it. Within minutes, the entire drilling platform was swallowed. Then the lake itself began to swirl into a giant whirlpool, draining directly into the underground mine shafts. 11 barges and acres of land were pulled under, vanishing into the earth. Miraculously, no one was killed, but the landscape was permanently transformed. Today, Lake Peigneur is much deeper than it used to be, and it even reversed the flow of a nearby canal for several hours during the disaster. It's one of the strangest engineering-related natural disasters ever witnessed. Imagine visiting the famous Dead Sea, only to find the ground collapsing beneath you. Over the last few decades, thousands of sinkholes have opened up around the Dead Sea region, swallowing roads, cars, and even buildings. Some of these craters are the size of football fields. Why? As the Dead Sea's water levels drop due to evaporation and human water use, underground salt deposits dissolve. With nothing to hold up the surface, the land collapses without warning. This surreal landscape looks like something from another planet, and it's still expanding every year. New Year's Eve is usually a time for fireworks and celebration. But in Beebe, Arkansas, residents rang in 2011 with something far stranger. Out of nowhere, thousands of blackbirds fell from the sky, littering the streets and lawns. The bizarre event repeated itself the next year. Explanations range from fireworks startling the birds into panicked collisions, to sudden weather shifts or even disease. Whatever the cause, it created a scene straight out of an apocalyptic movie. This strange mass die-off has happened in other places too, like Sweden and Italy, proving that sometimes natural disasters can literally fall from the sky. In February 2019, residents living along Lake Erie in the United States woke up to find giant walls of ice invading their homes. Strong winds had pushed massive sheets of ice onto shore, creating what looked like a frozen tsunami. The ice piled as high as 30 feet, crushing fences, smashing through windows, and burying houses. Though no one died, the surreal sight of entire neighborhoods being consumed by moving glaciers remains one of the strangest natural spectacles in recent memory. Now, here's a disaster that isn't about fire, water, or earth, but about people. In July 1518, residents of Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire, were struck by a bizarre epidemic of dancing. It started when one woman began to dance uncontrollably in the street. Within days, dozens of others joined in. They couldn't stop moving, day and night. Some collapsed from exhaustion, others reportedly died from heart attacks or strokes brought on by non-stop dancing. Historians still debate the cause: mass hysteria, ergot poisoning from contaminated bread, or a psychological phenomenon triggered by stress. Whatever it was one of history's weirdest natural disasters. Australia is famous for its strange wildlife, but in the 1950s, one small town had to face a biblical plague of frogs. After heavy rains, thousands upon thousands of frogs suddenly invaded homes, streets, and businesses. The invasion was so overwhelming that people reported the ground hopping beneath their feet. It wasn't just gross. Dead frogs clogged water tanks, filled wells, and created sanitation nightmares. While not deadly, this frog storm stands out as one of the most bizarre natural events of the modern era. From killer lakes and sticky floods to raining fish and dancing plagues, the natural world has a way of surprising us in the strangest and sometimes deadliest ways. These disasters remind us that Earth is full of mysteries. Some are terrifying, others are fascinating, but all of them show us that nature doesn't always follow the rules we expect. Which of these disasters shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey into the weirdest natural disasters ever recorded, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Amazing World Facts, and ring the bell so you never miss our next adventure into the strange and surprising corners of our planet. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, the world is weirder than you think.